So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce travel journalist Ron Stern. The reason we're here.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. And I've been doing these talks for close to 20 years now, throughout Colorado, Canada, other states. And so I titled it Fly Cheap, Stay Cheap, Travel Cheap, the key word here being frugal. I think anybody wants to be thought of as cheap, but it didn't quite work with the title. Fly frugal, stay frugal. It didn't quite work. So a couple things before we get started. We're going to go to about 8:30, and I'm going to take a little break in the middle here. And because of the sake of time, I'm not going to be able to answer questions here. If there's time afterward, come up and see me afterward. I'll try to answer it. So write it down. If you have a specific question, I'll do my best to answer that. And then we have a couple of books available. One of them is the book for tonight, and this is going to cover everything I talked about. I'm kind of be going fast, so if you want to make sure you get everything, you don't want to write down all the .com/whatever, I have these available over here. And also my wife has a brand new book, which is like her humorous look at our travels together. She has a great chapter on packing for ladies, how you get everything in one bag and how she does it. So if you're interested in those, you can see her at the break or afterward here. All right, so let's see this works. Oh, there we go. All right, so when I travel around, I have one of those fun jobs where I get to travel a lot of different places, write stories, take pictures, do videos. I think you have the little sheet with some of those places where you can find my articles and things like that. So I write a lot about food and travel. But when I go someplace, I'm always looking for the most interesting angle that I can find. And how many have been to Carmel, California? A lot of you. All right. So it's a beautiful coastal town, very expensive. And so I've been there lots of times. And so I was there about a year ago, and I decided to do an article about this quirky, Carmel being kind of quirky. So here's a couple things for those of you who've been there you may not have known. There are no street addresses in the city of Carmel. How many of you knew that who've been there? Okay, so imagine you're the new UPS driver, and you have your whole load there. And says, "Hey, good luck, kid." So how am I supposed to know where to deliver these packages? Well, the way you would do it is you would, and still today you would address it like with landmarks. So 3 streets north of 3rd, 4th house on the left, the one that says Prairie. And that's how you deliver packages. Okay, so you do it all by landmarks. Now, why would they do something like that? Well, the reason was apparently they decided originally that it would be a good idea to everybody have a post office box, so you're kind of forced to interact with your neighbors. Okay, all right, so it makes sense, and so you get to meet your neighbors. But of course, if you're outside the main city, then you have to do it by the landmark. So no street addresses in Carmel, which I thought again was kind of quirky. There was a law in the books for many years that says that you were not allowed to sell or eat ice cream in the city of Carmel. Have you ever been to a resort town where you couldn't buy ice cream? Right? Can you think of a reason why? Well, apparently they thought if you drop that on the pavement, it'd make a big sticky gooey mess. Somebody'd have to clean it up, so we'll just outlaw it, right? Quirky. So that law didn't sit well with one particular resident. Right? He decided he was going to run for office and do something about it, and he did. I can get this thing to work. Okay. How many of you know who this is? So Clint Eastwood here, he ran for mayor, he won, and one of his first orders of business was to repeal the ridiculous ice cream law. Okay. And there's another law that's still on the books. It was there from the 1920s. It said, ladies, you are not allowed to wear high heels in the city of Carmel. How many of you were there wearing high heels, breaking the law? Okay. And, all right, so why would they have that law? Well, apparently, they thought if you tripped or something like that, you break, a leg or something, you'd sue the city, so they said, we'll just outlaw that. Now, that law is still on the books, but you can get around this law by going to City Hall and getting an official waiver that says you're exempt from whatever the city ordinance code is that you're not allowed to wear high heels. So when I was there, I said, can anybody get one of these? They said, yeah. I said, okay, well, I'll take one. Here it is. It's an official document, right? And they notarize this, they record it, the whole thing. So, next time you go to Carmel, or if you've never been there, stop by City Hall, and you can pick yourself one of these nice little souvenir waivers that says you're exempt from, you know, the... No, they're free, which is nice. Probably the only thing that's free in Carmel. Okay, so let's get on with the program here. When you're looking for some place to go and you're trying to save some money, one place to start is in Google. And you can always type in anything you want up here. Sometimes playing around with the words budget and discount will get you some interesting things. So budget travel Australia, discount travel China. You might get a travel agency or a tour operator offering a package or a special to that area. So it's kind of a shortcut, you know, quickie way to find some things like that. I just typed in budget travel and I got like 76 million, you know, sites. So you look at the first few pages and sort of move on. But it's kind of, I found some interesting things just by doing that. Every country has a tourism office. Okay, Ireland tourism office, Switzerland tourism office, Germany tourism office. When you go to these websites, you're looking for things, where to stay, what to do, where to eat. But I'm also looking for any ways to save money. Okay, so every country has one. Every state, particularly here in the United States, has one of these as well. Here in Colorado, it's just called Colorado Tourism Office. But every state will have something similar to that. And then on the local level, every large community has what's called a Convention Visitors Bureau, or for short, they call it a CVB, Convention Visitors Bureau. Here's one for St. Louis, and here's a hotel special for $79. That's not too bad. And here's a little thing there called Tickets and Deals. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for when I go to these tourism sites or things like that. Here's one offered a couple years ago by the Los Cabos Convention Visitors Bureau. It's called Fly Me to the Sun. Now, this looked like a pretty good deal at the time to me. It was down in the Baja area, Cabo San Lucas of Mexico. And what it was, if you stayed at one of 20 participating hotels down here, upon checkout, they would refund you $400. Now, that's enough to fly you there, or would have been, okay? And maybe part of another person's airfare as well. So if you've never been down here before, this is kind of the Sea of Cortez, kind of calm, emerald green waters. But if you go to that little opening there, that's where the Pacific Ocean meets the Sea of Cortez. So off to the right is a little beach right here in the foreground. They call this Lover's Beach. How many have been here? Lover's Beach, okay. And so here's some people scuba diving and snorkeling. So this is the calm, tranquil side. But if you go to the other side, the Pacific Ocean side, the water is very different. It's very violent, very turbulent. So if you walk from Lover's Beach to the other side, you know what they call this side? Divorce Beach. Tranquil waters to the, you know, turbulent waters, Divorce Beach. They have boats where you can take around the rocks here if you have kids or grandkids. There's like sea lion colonies or different places in the rocks. It's kind of a fun thing to do. This is one of the hotels that was in that promotion I told you about. This one's called Pueblo Bonito. There's 4 of them down here, all of them right on the water. And again, at the time, they were offering the $400 checkout, you know, refund you upon checkout. Here's another one of their properties. You can't tell from the picture, but there's the water crashing on the shore over there. So there's the Pacific Ocean side. Lots of open squares, different things going on throughout the year. This is still a relatively affordable, safe part of Mexico. And they have a sunset cruise that's very popular. It goes on the calm side, you know, and it was actually a lot of fun. Now here's a tourism site for the country of Belize. Has anybody been to Belize or wanted to go? Okay. Why would you want to go here? Well, your dollar's worth more money. Okay, it's worth $2, right? So you step off the airplane, you double your money. That's kind of nice. And the official language down here in Central America is English, so everybody speaks our lingo. Here's their tourism site here with the things to do and places to see. But there's a link here called Belize on a Budget. And this is 100 small hotels offering rooms for less than $60 a night. So your dollar is generally worth more money, and you can stay a lot of places around the country for, you know, fairly affordable pricing. If you've never been here before, this is what it kind of looks like flying in. It's all based kind of on the water, very, very pretty. They have a lot of these little islands or keys where you can go out and spend the day. They'll have you can snorkel, lounge around, fish, and they'll bring lunch. One of the better lunches I had was on this little island right here. The reef is a big attraction, so if you like underwater activities, there's just miles of underwater coral and sea life, gigantic, you know, iridescent colored fish, sea turtles floating through the water. One of the few places around the world where they will let you play with a shark. And this is a nurse shark. They don't really have any teeth, so I'm not going to turn around and bite your hand off. But there's not too many places in the United States that will let you do something like this. Down here, you kind of, you know, feel the skin, you know, things like that. Sort of a fun thing to do. Here is the tourism site for the country of Switzerland. This one's called Affordable Zurich. Now the reason I usually show all these is because most people I found never bother to check these tourism sites when they do travel planning. How many of you routinely look at tourism sites when you're doing travel planning? Anybody? Okay. This is one of the first places I usually go because I can find deals that are usually specific to the destination, and I'm not going to usually find those any other places. So in my opinion, you should always be checking these tourism websites, and I'll show you an example why in just a second here. Okay, this is budgettravel.com. It's the online version of the magazine that's available in most of the bookstores. And this entire site is devoted to saving money. So if you're wanting to travel to save money, you probably should spend a little bit of time on here. There's a lot of stuff going on. You can sign up for their free newsletter up here. And some of the things you can find on sites like this would be packages. Now, a package would typically include your airfare, your hotel, your taxes, and your fees. Sometimes what you can find on sites like this and other ones would be the package cheaper than just the airfare that you can find just to get to the destination. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever found that? The package cheaper than just the airfare to get someplace? So example, here's one I saw. This would be round trip airfare to, kind of cut it off here a little bit, to Ireland, plus your rental car, plus 6 nights in 4- and 5-star hotels for $6.99. What do you think? Is that good?
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to find, airfare for that, alone. But you're getting all that bundled together. So my daughter and her husband, when they got married, they wanted to go to Ireland. They were looking around the internet. And they found something similar to this. But the problem with one they found was it was one city, it was Dublin. So if you're going to Ireland for 6 nights and you have to spend every night in Dublin, you're not going to see much of the rest of the country, right? You're going to have to go back and forth to Dublin all the time. So it wasn't ideal. So I saw this one on Budget Travel, which wasn't bad. And if you scroll down, it'll show you all the details about it, where you fly from and all that sort of thing. But what I did was I went on the Ireland tourism website, like I'm suggesting all of you do. Within just a couple minutes, I found a couple packagers to Ireland. I went to their website, and I saw one that said about the same amount of money, right? About around $700. But it was same thing, rental car, 4- and 5-star hotels, but it was 4 cities. So that's the one they booked. They went with that. But again, I found that through the tourism sites, like I'm suggesting all of you, take a look at. Okay. All right, how do I go about looking for airfares? It's really not that complicated. And again, even if you get the book, you don't have to look through the whole book. There's only about 4 sites or so that I usually check. And the thing about airfares is you want to be checking and comparing them to see if it's really a good deal, because it's all kind of relative, right? Let's take a fare from Denver to Los Angeles. Let's say it's running $240 round trip. Some of you might think that's a great deal. Some of you think that's too much money. So it depends. If I pay $240, I'm sitting next to this gentleman. He tells me, I only paid $120. Now I think it's bad, right? Okay. So let's start with the $240, and I usually start with this one. Again, all this stuff is in the book if you decide to get it. BookingBuddy.com. I can go back and forth to these other ones here and kind of compare. But $240 round trip, Denver to Los Angeles. Okay, we'll start with that, and I'm going to see if I can kind of beat that now. So the next one I usually check is Kayak.com. Here's showing me a fare of $213, which is cheaper, but it's telling me I'm going to Ontario. That's California, not Canada. So why is it doing that? Most of these websites will give you what's called an alternative airport. In other words, someplace nearby if you want to save a little bit of money. It's just kind of convenience. If you don't want to go to Ontario, there's usually some button or something you can uncheck. The alternative airports will disappear. Or you can just keep scrolling down. Los Angeles will, pop up there. Okay, so we start with 240. Now I'm down to 213, but that's Ontario. And the next one I'll usually look at is this one. You've probably never heard of this one. It's called Mobissimo. That's how you spell it. So on Mobissimo, I'm seeing a fare here on Frontier for $199. Now that's round trip. At the time, that did include all the taxes and the fees. 240 down to 199. That's a savings of about $40 a person. If you have a family of 4 people, that's $160. That's a pretty significant amount of money. All right. What was interesting on this one, though, is I did check Frontier's website first before I went here, and I couldn't find that $199. I saw the 240, not the $199. Went here, I saw it, I clicked into it, it took me back to Frontier's website, and there it was. Find that a little odd?
Yeah.
Now, why did it do that? I have no idea. All I know is if I would have paid $240, and then I saw this, I've been a little upset, wouldn't you? ever paid $40 a person. So that's the point here. Sometimes the airlines might be cheaper, sometimes it may not be. Here's a case where I would have overpaid. So again, just by going through these couples' websites, you get a broad spectrum of what they're running, and then you can decide, if it's a good fare for you to book it. Okay, the sites that I've been talking about so far all have a way for you to sign up, usually for their electronic newsletter, and again, the ones that are listed in the book there. One of the ones I was signed up with is called Travelzoo. Have you heard of Travelzoo? Mm-hmm. How many signed up with Travelzoo? So Travelzoo gives you the top 20 best deals of the week, right? They'll give you it could be a cruise, it could be a package, it could be a hotel. And I've seen some pretty nice deals on Travelzoo. Okay, so they sent me an email one time saying, here's a special offer. I read through it. I clicked into one of their dates. It took me to this Orbitz matrix display here. So tell me if you think this was a good offer, a good deal, and it was real. Round trip airfare Denver to Moscow, Russia. All taxes, all fees, on American Airlines, $296.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Sounds pretty good. How many go to Moscow for less than $300? One person. Two. Let me ask it again. How many go to Moscow for less than $300? Still, don't worry. Okay, you can almost pay $5,000 for that same fare. All right, but okay, so what's the catch? Well, there really isn't a catch except for the fact that it says on that particular date there's one ticket left. All right, so if I decide to get a cup of coffee, think about it, it could be gone. Now, I've seen this one over the years. It pops in and out. I've had a couple people in classes who booked it and went there for less than $300. So it was real. And again, if you always want to go there and you're quick on the draw, then you can, you could have gone there for less than whatever, $300 there. All right. All right, Trippin. If you haven't heard of Trippin, what's that?
I'll have to practice my Russian first.
Practice your Russian, yes. Get a phrase book. Trippin. This is a application, also a computer thing. So before Trippin, what I would do is I'd have to write out all my itinerary, where I'm going to be going, where I'm going to be staying, all the phone numbers and all the confirmation numbers, and I'd have to keep it. And then somebody wants a confirmation number, I got to dig through all this stuff to find it. The way this works, it's free. You go there and you register once, and then every time you're trying to plan a trip, you put in some basic information here, like your flight number and your date, and it pulls it up so you don't have to type the whole thing out. And so it essentially builds an online itinerary for you. It summarizes all of your travel plans in one or two nice, neat little pages. Okay, so here's my flight information with the confirmation code right over there, rental car, confirmation code. So we will put it in exactly the right date, exactly the right time, sequentially. And by color-coded icon, whether it's a flight or a car, I can add things like restaurants or meetings, whatever, and I'll put it just where it's supposed to go. So you never have to bother typing all that stuff out again. And when you're done with this, you just click a button, you can send it to your friends and family, they can see where you're going without a lot of fuss and fuss. If you have a device, a phone or a pad, there's an app, you never have to carry any papers at all, we'll send it right to your device. So this is pretty much all I use anymore, even for big complicated trips. If you've never tried it, I'd give it a go because it's really worth, the price, which is free. Okay, Viama. Viama is another site that I kind of like. There's a couple nice features on here. In this case, I was checking the flights from Denver to Paris, and if you want to go to Paris, how many want to go to Paris? Still, okay, a lot of you. If you want to go there, coach priced with tax, it's probably going to cost you around $1,000, something like that, depending on the time of year. But sometimes what you can find on sites like Viama and other ones would be business class fares for around the same price as a coach ticket. How many have flown business class? Is it nicer than coach? Yeah. Do they treat you differently? Yeah, they treat you differently, don't they? Okay, but they're very, expensive. Most people can never afford to do it. So here's one I saw at Viama. It's a business class fare to Paris, France for about $1,000 plus tax. That's about the same price as a coach ticket. So if you know where to go and you're looking, you can sometimes come up with these, business class fares and travel with a little bit of style and dignity. Here's a little link with the airline, what it looked like, and it would have been this one, L'Avion. This is all business class. There's no coach seats. They're wider, they recline, there's some more leg room. They serve you real food here, not your plastic chicken pasta sorts of things. And problem with this was they were bought out though by Open Skies. So now the website's flyopenskies.com, run by British Air. So here's a business class fare, about $2,200. That's still cheaper than most of the business class fares that are out there. You say, well, it's still a bit, pricey. So here's a premium economy for about $1,400. So now you're kind of getting in the range where some people can kind of afford to experience these nice fares here. This one is called Fare Compare. Fare Compare is a fairly large website. You can find pretty much anything you want to know about airfares on this one. You can sign up for their newsletter. And occasionally you might get special offers again, like I did. You send me an email, here's a special deal. So I read through it and I clicked into it and it took me to this April calendar. And there's a whole bunch of boxes here, I know it's hard to read. It says $411. Now that would have been the cheapest round trip coach price, once again, Denver to Paris. That's about half. So 2 people could have gone for the price of one for about $1,000 or so. You could have gone, 2 people could have gone to Paris. That's the kind of stuff you can find sometimes on sites like Fare Compare and other ones. They have a real-time map here tied in with Twitter. So if you said, hey, where can I go this weekend for, let's say, $250, a whole bunch of places pop up all over the map. Here's Seattle for $167, San Francisco $173. You just follow the little link that tells you how to book those fares for those prices. They have other areas. Here's Hawaii. There's Asia, Europe, South Pacific, so pretty much everywhere. And you can find all that on Fare Compare. If you've ever been faced with the dilemma of, do I book a ticket or do I wait? Have you ever had that problem? As you're thinking, well, is it going to go up or down? So you say, well, I think I'll wait. And what usually happens? Usually goes up. So this one's called Yapta. And you go here, you install their little program, it's free. And then every time you're on an airline search engine, you have an option. Mind your weight here, by the way, all this time? Sort of? Okay. Just kick me. Right. You'll get an option somewhere that says tag it. If you click the tag it button, Yapta will track the fare, and it will notify you by email if it drops and goes lower. Okay, so here's where you don't have to be going back and forth 20 times a day. If it finds it, it'll notify you. And many airlines have rules that might allow you to qualify for a voucher or a refund if you find it somewhere cheaper. And so you can use the Yapta for that, even if you've already booked something right now. Okay, and then see if you qualify for some money back or a voucher. Okay. This is bestfares.com. It's been around for a long time. They've changed how they look. I'll show you the new one in just a minute here. But here's something I've seen over the years. It's a kind of typical representative example of something you might find on a site like this. A package again. Here's a round trip airfare and plus 3 nights in a 4-star London hotel for $399. Raise your hand if you think that's a good deal. Yeah. So airfare to London would probably cost you $800, $850. Here you're getting your airfare plus your 3 nights in your 4-star, not your Rick Steves 2-star hotel here, okay? 4-star hotel for $399. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Is there a catch? Yeah. The catch is $399. Is that going to be from Denver? No. Where's it going to be from? New York. Yeah, New York, exactly. All right, but I can see if I read a little bit further down that the fares from Denver are $489. Still, if fares are $850. Paying $489 plus your hotel for 3 nights, that's still a pretty awesome deal. However, if I could somehow get myself to New York and not have to pay much to get there, I could take advantage of $399. So I'll give you some strategies on how we can possibly do that coming up. Keep it in mind, we'll kind of come back to it. And here's how they look now. It's still the same basic operation. Since we're talking about London, here's some pictures from past trips. Here is the Tower Bridge. Here's a typical kind of tube station, as they call it. Kind of cut off half my picture here, but that's okay. What is this? Yeah, that's what I always thought too. Yeah, my wife's over there saying, no. So Big Ben is the name of the, anybody know? Some people think it's the building. No, it's not the building, it's the bell. The bell inside this clock tower. So a lot of locals would just call this the clock tower. You never knew that, did you? Until today. And so Big Ben's the bell, not the building, but a bit of useless trivia I pass on to you. But the new name was officially changed a couple years ago. So the new official name of this now is the Elizabeth Tower, named after Queen Elizabeth on her Diamond Jubilee. Okay, it'll always be Big Ben to me, though. Here's a picture I took of the Buckingham Palace, Buckingham Gardens. It took me a couple hours in the freezing cold to take this picture. So who can tell me what the odd thing is about it? What's that? He's looking to the side. So what? To us here, it's like, who cares, right? Over there, is it a big deal? Yeah. And you say, how big of a deal is it? Well, I was on a trip one time, and somebody told me, the Queen came for a visit one time. She had all her bodyguards with her. And as she was walking along, she started to trip and stumble. The bodyguard, of course, reached out to keep her from falling. he got fired for touching the Queen. So when they look away like this, yeah, it's a big deal. I don't know if he got fired or not, but he possibly could have. Okay, so after 2 hours, I got this picture. I was pretty happy. I ran away all giddy, thinking, okay, this is fairalert.net. Now it's not around anymore. Before you write it down. And I still have it listed in the book. Why? Well, because I think it's still interesting, and I'll tell you why. This is a website that would, you sign up once, and then you wouldn't hear from them again unless something happened. Like what? Well, you might get an email that would say something like, fly from Los Angeles to the island paradise of Fiji for $51 plus tax. How many would go to Fiji for $51? Okay, more hands went up. This is cheaper than the Moscow trip, right? So obviously there's a catch. What is it? This is a website that would notify people who were signed up with what we would commonly refer to as airline pricing glitches. So what's a glitch? A glitch is a mistake, right? Do they make mistakes? Yeah, sometimes they make mistakes. How often? No way to predict. Sometimes there's a few, sometimes you don't hear for a while. But then when they make a mistake, they would notify people here, and then if you're so inclined, you can go on the website and try to find out about it. So the question you're probably already asking yourself is, yes, but do they have to what?
Honor it.
Honor it, yes. Well, the answer is it depends. Sometimes they make the papers like this one did. So here's a boo-boo made by Swiss Air. Round trip flight Toronto to either Europe or India for the price of $0. And business class. So that's your clue, something's wrong, right? But sometimes it's just hard to tell. It shows up on a website, people start booking it. That's what happened here. Swiss Air finds out about it, says, oh, no, we're not going to cover that, it's a mistake. And then somebody complained, and then they reversed themselves. So a lot of people got to go to India or Europe for the $0 business class fare. Okay, not too bad. Here's some of the ones that happened in the history of Fair Alert, so you can see what you've missed over the years. Right? Starting with the top one here. 5 nights vacation at Bali, Air and Hotel. There it is again. $0. $100 deposit. Round trip airfare USA to Singapore plus 2 nights in a hotel, $180. That's not too bad. And here's the best one. 7 nights in India for $0, including your airfare. So I can't do any better than that, right? So what would happen is you get an email with a bunch of information, and then again, if you're so inclined to do it, you can go on a certain website and try to get these non-fares to appear. Now, since they're not around anymore, how can you find out about these? I'll give you a couple ideas if anybody's interested. One of them, and again, these are all in the book again, but one's called Flyer Talk, flyertalk.com. This is a large community of frequent flyers who spend a lot of time on the internet looking for deals, and occasionally they might find ultra low fares or maybe a mistake fare. And if you're, in checking these occasionally, you can get wind of them as well. The other one is called frugaltravelguy.com. So Frugal Travel Guy is just a guy, and he has a website. But occasionally he'll talk about mistake fares if he finds them, but he's probably best known for things like how can you get a lot of miles using things like credit card offers. How many of you have a credit card tied to a airline program? Quite a few. All right, so the way most people use these credit cards is you buy something, you get a mile, you fly somewhere, you get a mile. Then when you have enough miles, you might be able to take a trip someplace. But the people who are doing this all the time aren't really using it so much that way as they are for getting the credit card for what's called sign-up bonuses. Meaning you get the card, you do something, they give you a whole bunch of miles. Now that's a way to really leverage the amount of miles you can get quickly. My wife and I did that, some of the sites we saw on his website. You go there tonight, take a look, they're all over the place. Within 3 months, we had 500,000 miles that we could use for travel. Okay? And so a couple caveats, all right, before we start talking about credit cards and things. If you have bad credit, you probably don't want to do this. If you can't pay off your bill every month with credit, you probably don't want to do this. Because I just use it for the offer. What you don't want to do is be racking up a lot of debt, miss a payment, you miss a payment, you're paying like 30% interest. So the people who are doing this all the time are just only doing it for the offer, and then they're done with it, okay? And I've been doing this for a long time, but Frugal Travel Guy's been doing it a lot longer than me. So anyway, one of the deals we saw on his website was a 2-part offer from British Air. The first part was if you buy something using the card, they'd give you 50,000 miles. Now they don't specify, you can buy whatever you want. So we went out and got a cup of coffee. Not the, $30 Starbucks coffee, whatever it is, the $1 gas station coffee, right? So we each did that, and we got 50,000 miles for that. Does that sound difficult so far? All right. Does anybody know where 50,000 miles will get you from Denver on British Air? Not around the world, but London for a cup of coffee. Okay. Okay, that was pretty easy. The second part involved what's called the minimum spend. That's more common these days. So at the time it was a $750 spend amount in 3 months. So I paid, I think, half my property taxes, almost exactly that amount. Now it's done. I don't use it anymore. For my wife's, we spend it on the stuff we have to buy anyway. That's the key here. Food, gas, whatever it was. I think it took a couple weeks. Okay, it's done. $750 for her. That's 100,000 miles each. Okay, and so what do? Well, that's business class to London, or we could use one of their partner airlines like American, and for only 35,000 miles go to Hawaii, which is what we did, twice, on the one offer. Almost enough left over for a third trip. Okay, so is it hard? No. Is it for everybody? Well, no, but you have to decide. What I would recommend is you go to his website, take a look at all the kind of the tutorials and things, because it'll answer questions like, is this going to hurt my credit? If you do it the right way, the answer is no. Okay, but you want to check for yourself and make sure it's right for you. But you can go there tonight, take a look at all the different deals, and see if they're good. Now, do I keep the card the second year? That's usually another question. The answer is if I don't need it anymore, if I don't want it, I usually return it. So also, I don't want to pay the annual fee, right? Okay, so it's kind of up to you. But I don't have a lot of cards. I usually have one or two going in at any one time. Another good one to get is probably the Southwest. How many know the Southwest Rapid Rewards card? Anybody? Okay. So that's a pretty nice one because you can do I think it's like spending $2,000 or $3,000 in 3 months, and they'll give you like 50,000 miles, which is at least enough for 2 tickets. So 2 people do that, it's 4 tickets. And Southwest still doesn't charge yet for bag fees, and for change fees. So if you haven't tried that one, it's a good one. We've done it, I think, 2 or 3 times already for Southwest. So take a look. It's the Rapid Rewards program that they have. This is called Boarding Area. It's kind of cut off there. Boardingarea.com. It's a blog site with a bunch of different people talking about their areas of interest. It could be Starwood Hotel Points or Hertz Rental Car. And basically you say, go get a cup of coffee, and they'll give you like 500 points on Frontier. So there's contests going all the time and promotions where you can get a lot of miles. And the truth is, if you're really kind of serious about traveling, you can get a whole bunch of points, awards, and miles on everything you buy. It doesn't take a lot of time to get to another level where you can start using that for free travel. Okay? So the site that kind of got me interested in all this years ago was Frontier's website. They have a card here called the World MasterCard, and at the time it was a $49 annual fee. So I read through all the rules. I decided to apply for the card, and I went out and bought pack of gum. Okay? Cost me about $1. So when the statement came, it showed $49 fee, $1 pack of gum, total of $50. But right below it, it said 15,000 miles deposited to your Frontier account. Does anybody remember what that used to be good for on Frontier? 15,000 miles. That was the ticket. Domestic air award. Normally you need 25,000 for that. But at the time, from Frontier, it was 10,000 less, only 15,000 miles. I took a lot of trips, a lot of things just on that 15,000 mile promotion. All right, so anyway, that was the Frontier thing. And remember I said the best fares, remember $3.99 New York to London, 3 nights in a 4-star hotel. I said if you had a cheap way to get to New York, take advantage of it. Well, now instead of spending $300 for a ticket, it's only going to cost me $50 on Frontier. But I got something in the mail. It was like a year before. I didn't really keep it. I kind of glanced at it. It was from Frontier, and it's something about waiving the annual fee. That's all I remember. So I figured out what the heck. I'll call up the credit card company. So I did. I said, hey, I've got my statement here for the $50 or whatever it was. I said, but I got something in the mail from you guys that says you're waiving your annual fee. I fully expected her to say, what? What are you trying to pull here? Who do you think you are? But what she said was, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll take that off there right now. I'm thinking, really? Okay, how much does that ticket cost me now to get to New York? Yeah, $1 pack of gum. What do I do next? And my wife, my daughter go online. They apply for the Frontier MasterCard. They went out and bought $1 packs of gum. They made calls to the credit card company. They waived their annual fee. So one year, all 3 of us took a trip to Florida for $3. So I hope you can see this doesn't have to be difficult. Okay? All right, so that was another one. All right, here's the next one that came in the mail. This is from United. And on United, you typically need at least about 25,000 miles for an air award. So what they're telling me is there's no annual fee the first year, so that's good. and they're saying that I got about 12,000 miles on my balance, which is about half of what I needed for a ticket. But they're offering to give me a first purchase bonus if I get the car to 21,000 miles combined with it. That'd be enough. Okay. All right, so now what's the next question you probably want to know? First purchase bonus. What would you want to know next? What's it mean? Meaning you have to buy something, but the question will be what? How much? Yeah. Well, it doesn't say. So now I have to call him up again. This time I have to talk to India or something for 15 minutes. And the guy says, well, you know, it's any amount. Any amount. He says, yeah, any amount. I'm thinking like, how much is that? He's probably like, any amount. Okay, well, I'm thinking there's some hidden thing, you know, you didn't read the fine print, now you have to pay all this money or whatever. But when they say any amount, I want to find out, is that really true? Can you really spend any amount? Okay, well, I already paid $1 for a pack of gum, right? So I go back to the store, I'm looking for the cheapest thing I can find, and I'm looking around, what I come up with is, remember the title of this class, by the way, cheap. So here's a 15-cent purchase, right? I go get this, and I wait for the statement. The statement shows 15 cents, but right below it's got minus 15 cents, balance 0. So here's a case it wasn't even worth the computer's time to process my lousy, you know, Tootsie Roll Pop here, just zeroed it out, but the miles are there. So that was another ticket. So when they say any amount, they really apparently mean it. They don't really care what you spend to get into the program. What are they hoping you're going to do with that card? Yeah, get into debt and all that, which is not what we're trying to do here, right? So again, just for the offer, and then I'm out of the game. So all these types of programs we're talking about could probably be put under the term loyalty. Have you heard that term? Loyalty rewards? Everybody has them now, you know, department stores have them, everybody has it. But the start of this, the origin of this, had its kind of inception, something in a very popular program that many of us here will probably remember. Back in the late 60s, early 70s. Remember what it could have been? These? How many remember S&H green stamps? How many have no idea what I'm talking about? Okay, now I know how old I am and how young you are. Okay, so for, was it Devin? All right, I'm going to tell you how it used to be. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? You would pull into a gas station, remember? Didn't have to get out of your car. Usually some guys, always some guys, would come out, and they would do 4 things for you. What were they? Windshield, oil, tire pressure, and gas. All for free. You think, wow, I never knew how good I had it back then. Okay, so they do all that for you. You still didn't have to get your car. You didn't give them a credit card. There really wasn't credit cards back then. You gave them cash. And then they gave you some of these stamps. And then what you would do is you'd have to go home and try to put them in these books. Remember? They would never stick. You would have to either glue them in, right? Or you'd have to get a sponge, and you'd have to get the Encyclopedia Britannicas out, which aren't around anymore, and force them on there, you know, leave them overnight. Hopefully they went in there, and then you know, it kind of went in funny. And then you would take the books when they're completed to the redemption centers, which aren't around either. And you would get some sort of cheesy merchandise. You know, you get a toaster, or Tupperware. I had a lady in class who got her first Schwinn bicycle with, you know, the S&H program here. So the idea was, in exchange for your loyalty, they'd give you a reward. That was the start of all these programs we have now, was really the S&H program. But you probably didn't know, did you? Okay, interesting. Okay. Once you have a cheap way to get to, you know, New York or LA, both coasts, then you can get over to Europe, and then traveling becomes much easier. There's, you know, trains, there's low-cost carriers, like this is Ryanair. I know you can't see it, but what it says is 1 million seats on Ryanair for just one way. £5 one way on Ryanair, 1 million seats for that price. That was a promotion they had. And there's other ones, there's EasyJet, and lots of other ways of moving around once you get there. But usually, like I say, it's more costly to get there, you know, than paying the cheaper prices of the Tootsie Roll Pop ticket or something like that. Okay, so at this point, what I like to do is just take a short little break, maybe 5-6 minutes. If you need to use the restroom, there's refreshments in the back there. If you'd like to get one of the books, come up and do those now, and we'll get started in about 5 or 6 minutes and get on the rest of it. Okay. So we'll kind of move in some different areas here. We will be hitting hotels too, by the way, just in case you're wondering. But this is citypass.com, and CityPass offers these little booklets that you can get ahead of time. And they cover the major attractions in a dozen or so cities around the country. That'll save you money, okay, versus buying them on site. So if you buy the New York City pass here, it gives you 6 attractions, a little over $100. You get things like the Empire State Building, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Statue of Liberty. So you get, that's 3 out of the 6 attractions. And also, if you have the city pass, a lot of times you can bypass the lines and get right on in. How many have kids or grandkids in here? Just a couple. All right, here's a Disney ship that's coming out of port. Disney does a pretty nice job of watching small children. They'll take care of them from morning till night. You never have to see them again till the end of the cruise. All the happy, smiling parents are up here. A couple websites I like for cruising. This one's called Cruise Mates. And they have things like reader reviews on this one. Similar to, it's kind of like TripAdvisor if you're familiar with that for cruise ships. So they kind of give you the good and the bad, the rating, the 4, 1 to 5 star rating, and you kind of see what people had to say about the particular cruise. The other one I like is Cruise Critic, and Cruise Critic will have a lot of informational articles, really kind of everything you want to know about how to cruise, plus a lot of deals. So here's a couple I saw on Cruise Critic. Here's a 7-night Bermuda cruise for $479, which I thought was pretty good. Here's one that's even better. Here's a 7-night Alaska cruise on Norwegian from $299. 7 nights, Alaska, $299. That's good, okay?
From where?
What?
From where?
From where? It would be from the East Coast. Probably Miami. No, it's going to be from like Vancouver or Seattle. Yeah, that'd be the other way. That'd be the Bermuda cruise. Now, there's another kind of cruising that a lot of people never thought about before, which is by freighter. Anybody here ever done a freighter cruise? Ah, really, sir? Did you like it?
That wasn't a freighter.
My grandparents
They were
did.
fun.
Your grandparents did. Did they like it?
They loved it.
They loved it. Okay, that's probably some time ago or recently?
In the 50s.
50s, yeah. Okay, so freighters, they go all over the world, and many of these will carry passengers. You're not going to have, 3,000 people on board. You might have as many as, about 40, something like that. And the thing is, for the same price of a typical 7 or 10 day cruise, you might be able to be on a freighter for maybe a longer period of time for the same amount of money. Now, what you would do is you go to websites like this. This one's called the Cruise People Limited. It's out of London. And one of the last places around still booking passage for people on freighters. You go to their website and you take a look at the different lines here, and you can click into them and see what kinds of experiences you can have. So you have things like this. You have Polar Expedition, Enrichment Voyages. If you ever thought about being on a tall ship, they have those available here too. This one goes around French Polynesia, including Tahiti. Okay, and these are the different stops you're going to have throughout the week. The Royal Mail ship St. Helena goes around Cape Town, South Africa, delivering mail. So you essentially go where the mail's going. And you're not going to have, when you get to the city or something, you're probably going to have to take a taxi to the city center. You're not going to have your artificial village with the cheesy merchandise right there for you or whatever. And sometimes the question comes up, do you have to work on these? Who's wondering, do you have to work on these? Somebody is, I know.
I was.
And the answer is yes. No, you don't. You don't have to work on them. Yeah, I scrape those barnacles off the side, maybe, your passage for free. Here is a small coastal freighter. Now the accommodations on something like this are going to be very limited versus, something like that, where you have more availability, more cabins, maybe a, small swimming pool or something. But, so the advantage of these, of course, is you're not going to have so many people. The food has been described as everything from good all the way up to excellent. And over the last 20 years, everybody so far who's taken one of these, including tonight, has said they liked it. So it's been 100% so far. Nobody said, I didn't like the experience. Again, different way of cruising. Might be something, be of interest to you at some point. This is a study done a few years ago, and they were looking at the cost of retiring in a nursing home over 20 years versus retiring on a cruise ship for 20 years. Now, do people retire on cruise ships? Yes. Why would you want to retire on a cruise ship versus a nursing home? Well, consider that you never have to wash another pot, cook another meal, vacuum the rug, cut the grass, and that stuff is all long distant memory. It's all done for you. What do they find? Found the cruise ship was slightly more, it was $2,000 more, but that was over 20 years, making it about the same price. Okay, so if you have your choice, just something to consider for the future, where you want to end up, nursing home. cruise ship, okay? This is called the Day Away Kayak Tours. This is the area, an area called the Space Coast of Florida. This is where we went for those 3 packs of gum I told you about earlier, you know, $3. And let's get away from Orlando and kind of the higher priced theme park areas. There's a lot of things that tend to be more affordable. Here they take you out in the slow moving Indian River. They got kayaks. There's mangrove trees. There's manatees floating through the water. Lots of birds and wildlife. Any birders in here? No birders? Yeah? You know where they are? Right. Very good. Who said ibis? Good. Extra credit.
I get a prize.
If I had a raffle ticket, I'd give it to you. So ibises, and these are brown pelicans. So there's lots of things to see and do. There's airboat tours in this area. If you've never been to the Kennedy Space Center complex, it's quite impressive. You got the old mission control that I remember when I was a kid watching this stuff. The Saturn V booster rocket. This is like the one that went to the moon. This is probably like 20 stories tall. It's just a massive thing. Another vacation I think that kind of gets overlooked a little bit are dude ranch vacations. How many have done dude ranch vacation? Several of you. We have lots of these in Colorado, and kind of similar to cruise ships, there's different themes, different feels to these for a 7-day stay usually. This one here is Bar Lazy J. It's over on the western slope, and if you go to stay here, you get to stay in a wooden log cabin right alongside the river. You can walk out your front door and fly fish in the morning if you want to. Here's another one. We had an outdoor breakfast one morning, and here was the actual food I ate before I ate it. So we got here blueberry sourdough pancakes, hickory smoked bacon, fresh trout. I very stuffed my face with that. Then they brought this. So it's kind of similar to a cruise ship. You know, you eat all this food, and you're eating all this food. And if you have kids or grandkids, they usually like the horse experience. I'm not much of a horse person, but there's a lot of other things going on at these ranches. There's trail rides, there's bikes, mountain bikes you can take. There's entertainment. Here is another one. This one's called Sea Lazy U. Again, over on the western slope. This one's more of an upscale kind of a thing. They've got very good food. They've got zip lines, tennis courts, swimming pools, ice cream parlors. They just installed a spa town, and so when you're getting a massage at this place, instead of looking at the floor, they usually are, you can watch the river going underneath you while you're getting a massage. It's kind of nice. And inside the barn here, they had entertainment, different things at night. They had music or dancing. So a lot of stuff going on. If you've never tried one of these, it might be worth it. You start putting together all the things you take on a typical trip. Your airfare, rental car, insurance, taxes, food, everything else. These become pretty competitive in price to those. If you like museums, here's one you might have overlooked. Here's Barneys toilet seat art exhibit in Texas, where you can go see this collection of colorful lids. Why you'd want to go there, I don't know. But there's all kinds of things around. Some of them you might like. Here is one. This is the May Natural History Museum. This was started in 1929 by a guy by the name of John May. And he had one of the largest collections of tropical insects and butterflies anywhere in the world. Walt Disney tried to buy this at one time. They turned him down, which they probably regret now. But when he passed away, they moved this collection to a little campground. And this is located on the way to Canyon City, just outside Colorado Springs. You probably driven right by there, didn't even know it was there. There's a big, gigantic beetle claw on the side of the road, kind of marking the spot. And it's quite fascinating if you're not into bugs and stuff. It's an interesting exhibit. Here's another one. This guy got a hold of a turn-of-the-century wash machine, and he renovated the thing from the ground up, and he liked it so much he made it his life's work. He would track these down wherever he could find them all over the world. He'd fix them up and put them in buildings behind his property. When he completed his, I think, 750th machine, he made the Guinness World Record book. But today he's got over 1,100. This is one of 4 buildings. Every one of these was renovated by him. Each one has a unique history. Some of these were designed to operate by animal power. You would have a goat on a treadmill, and that's what would turn the machine on. Okay? Some would churn butter. Some would grind meat. So for its time, it was pretty, amazing kind of engineering technology feat. This is one of the only dryers he has. It's a Westinghouse dryer. And the way it would tell you it was done with its cycle, it was to chime out the song, "How Dry I Am."
Can you sing that for us?
Let's all sing it. Not dry I am. Google it. As you were saying, what kind of song is that? Here is a washer made by, thanks for that, by the way. I'll do anything for a laugh, a cheap laugh. Okay, so here is a washing machine. This is made by International Harvester, which you might recognize from tractors, right? They used to make washing machines. The sign here says that it was the advertising guaranteed to prevent farm women from committing suicide. Now, when I first saw that, I thought, okay, I didn't know whether to laugh or whatever. I was kind of looking at him. I said, is that a joke? And he goes, well, he says, look at the motto on this next model. See that?
Yeah.
Now, until tonight, you've never heard anything like this, have you? You've heard things, oh, you get your finger caught in a roller or something like that. But no, it was actually much worse than that. And this has actually been confirmed to me by a couple of historians over the years. That life on the prairie was not easy. Pioneer women, morning till night chores. This being one of the most hardest ones, with red clay soil, things like that. So apparently that was a true thing, from what I could tell anyway. And they were using these machines as a way to prevent them from doing that, and marketing it, as such, like, hey, this will save you, your life, essentially. So he has 1,100 of these machines on his site here. The Smithsonian Museum has 4, 3 of which he says are mislabeled. Okay. Now, where's this located? Largest in the world. This is located in Eaton, just north of Greeley. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll never see it driving by, but it's in buildings behind his property, so it's only just a little over an hour away from here. And if you're interested in seeing these, okay, he's still giving tours. I don't know how much longer he's going to be doing it. He's getting older now. But I think he's charging like $30 for up to 10 people, something like that. I've been through it like 6 times. This is a piece of Americana. You're never going to see anything like this anywhere. If you're interested, I'll give you his website. It's called Old Wash, O-L-D-E, oldwash.com. You can either call him or email him and say, I want to come, make it, have a visit. He'll take you through. He'll turn some of the machines on, tell you the history, show you all the stuff I just showed you here, and it's quite fascinating. Oop, it is. Let me show you that. Yeah. Here is a guy who couldn't sleep one night, went out, started welding stuff together and things like this, farm equipment, car parts. And how many had a VW Beetle growing up other than me? A few of you, okay, you look like that. Here's a real VW Beetle. And the sign here says it's guaranteed to get you out of any traffic jam. So this is called the Sweatsville Zoo. And it's in Fort Collins, where we live. I don't live in the zoo, but down there. And started by Bill Sweats, who created all these eclectic creatures. They put them all over his property. It's a totally free attraction. You can go north on 25, get off on Harmony, turn right, and it's right there, right across from Walmart. Stumbled across the Sherlock Holmes Museum when we were in London. Any fans of Sherlock Holmes in here? Yeah, anybody remember where he used to live? What street? Baker Street. Okay, extra points for the address.
21.
What?
21.
Very close.
221.
221. 221B. Oh, cut it off. Yeah, you were looking at the sign. Yeah. 221B. Good try. And so this is roughly what this is located in London. You can go see Sherlock. Here's the Pez Museum. I guess we're still making Pez, but you can go see the Museum of Pez. Hammond's Candies in Denver is one of the last of the hard candy makers. Most of the hard candy now is made in Europe. There's only like a dozen or so left in the United States. Hammond's is one of those. They have free factory tours down here every 30 minutes, so it's quite a popular attraction. And you get to see how it's all sort of made. They kind of start with a big boiling vat of corn syrup, sugar, and water. They put them on cooling trays and start shaping them into other things. I was told that they tried to update their equipment, okay, but it didn't produce the same kind of candy as the 1920s equipment did. So I think they're still using the original 1920s equipment down here because of that. So, Hammond's Candies. If you've ever been to New York, you want to see a Broadway show or play, thought the prices were too high, there's a big kiosk near Times Square where you can buy half-price Broadway show tickets that are good for that day. I'm sure many of you, how many have done it here? Yeah, okay. So you stand in line, they tell you what's playing, and 2 people can kind of go for the price of 1. There's something similar in other cities. So when I was in London, I took a picture of the official half-price ticket booth to show you what that kind of looked like. After I took this picture, though, I turned around and I saw the other official half-price ticket. As I looked around, all of them said official half-price ticket booth. So I don't know how official any of this is, but as you can see, you can just walk right up and buy your tickets, which is really all you care about anyway. Okay, hotels. This one is called TV Trip. So what TV Trip does, they videotape or digitally tape properties around the world, and they show you what they really look like, kind of in the full panorama. So, very simple to use. Just type in the city or whatever you want to visit. And they'll show you all the different hotels, and they'll give you like the panorama of the lobby, the hotel room, the restaurant. And the other thing I kind of like about this one is they'll typically show you what the outside or the neighborhood looks like walking up to the place. Okay, so that could be helpful information. So when you're trying to decide from a little website picture, is this place any good or not, you can go to TV Trip and get kind of the full panorama, and that'll help you decide, is this a good place or not. Another one is called HotelsCombined, and they take the top booking sites around the internet and just kind of combine them into one. So you just type in the city or wherever you want to go, and it'll give you the option. I put in Zurich, Switzerland, and I give you a whole bunch of different options here, which I can sort by price or by location or star rating. And then if I want to book it, I just follow the little blue link. It'll take me back to the website where it came from. That's where I would complete the booking. But it will save you a lot of time searching all over the internet for different kinds of hotel options. If you've never been to Switzerland, it's one of my favorite places to go. This is Zurich at night, and the Swiss Rail Pass, which you would want to get ahead of time, gives you access not only to the trains, but most of the trams that go within the cities. And in addition to that, most of your lake transportation. So the ferries that go across these various lakes here sometimes may take a couple hours. All you have to do is show your Swiss Rail Pass and you can hop on board. And some of the mountain trains too, good for the Swiss Rail Pass. And that wasn't all enough. You get access to about 400 museums throughout the country for free, all with your one price for your Swiss Rail Pass. If you like wine, this is an area called the Lake Geneva region, and they have a lot of local small producers who grow wine and grow grapes and produce wine, and just tons of vineyards as you just go out by train that way. They don't export any of this, so one time I just asked him, well, why not? And the guy just looked at me and goes, well, we drink it all here. And he wasn't joking. He was just like dead serious. Oh, okay. A good time to visit. Europe, Germany, Switzerland is what's called Christmas markets. How many have been to a Christmas market? Aren't they fun? Okay. We're talking last week in November on into December. They're basically a big celebration with things like rides, booths, food, music, all kinds of things. They are just a blast. If you ever have a chance to go to these, I would, and now is about the time you want to be booking if you're looking into something like this. This is a good example of what I took here. This is in the town of Erfurt, East Germany. This was an area that was all closed off from the West. It was under communist control for many years. A lot of Germans had never even been to these cities. As you can see, they're quite a bit different now. You've got a lot of things like the big cathedral playing classical music on the pipe organ, rides, you got booths, and food. So, how many of you never had a German bratwurst? Okay, they are really good. Very filling. So after I ate one of these, I'd say, oh, I can't, I'm never going to do that again. And I walk 20 feet and go, ooh, look at that. That's usually how it goes, right? Okay, Hostelling International. This is a website that kind of centralizes all the hostels around the world. Makes it very easy to book these. And they're not all just, rowdy places for teenagers. Some of them are very nice. And you can kind of look, but you have the full gamut of what's available. Everything from tree houses to boats to you name it. Here's one I saw on their website. This is an old converted castle. It's in Southwest Ireland. And looks like a very nice place. You can have your kids there. They have a simple buffet breakfast in the morning. If you've never been to this part of Ireland, this is what it kind of looks like down here. Pretty colorful. Once you get away from the cities, Ireland pretty much looks like this. Right? You got a lot of stone walls, pastures and sheep. You get hungry again. Here's an Irish breakfast I had one morning. This website is called Help Exchange, or for short, helpx.net. And what it is, it's a website where anybody around the world who's looking for people to come stay for free room and board will post it here in exchange for some skill or service that you might have. Now that could be almost anything. It could be manual labor, landscaping, which is what this one is here, answering phones. It just depends what they're looking for. So right in the middle, it's in St. Kitts, West Indies. They're renovating a country house for bed and breakfast. It says volunteers can stay from 2 weeks to 3 months. You're given your own cabin with cable, internet, microwave, laundry. complimentary happy hour every Friday and Saturday down here. That's how they keep you. But again, all over the world. So depending on your situation, some of you might have to be a nice fit for something like that. Okay, Airbnb has become pretty popular. Anybody around the world with an accommodation. Now that can be a room in a house. It could be a basement, a loft, a cottage, an apartment, a whole house, a boat, whatever it is. They've got them all over the world, and they will post it here for ways you can stay inexpensively, instead of like a hotel stay. Now, the advantage, of course, is the pricing. And so starting prices in New York. If you want to go to New York and stay in a hotel, it probably is going to cost $300 on up, something like that. Starting prices I found on Airbnb here for New York. $25 on up. Now these little icons are similar to TripAdvisor. So people who've stayed here at this place will say, hey, here's what we thought of it, here's what the owners were like, here's what the accommodation was like. So it kind of gives you a rating, a little guide to kind of go by. Here's some starting prices in Paris. $10 on up. So again, they will go higher, but again, you've got a full range of pricing here. So if you've never tried this or looked into it, it's again a very popular way to stay inexpensively, not a hotel, but again, it just depends what they have for accommodations and what you're looking for. Another way, if you own a property, Roof Swap is one of several home exchange websites where you can exchange your house or condo to somebody around the world. You pay a small price to list it, and then you put it what all the amenities are and the dates you want to travel. And if somebody wants to come to this area, you want to go where they are, you just work out the exchange. Now this is done every day of the year. For people who do this all the time, they just absolutely love it. Because some of your biggest expenses, your hotel, your rental, and your car are usually covered with this, because it also usually includes the use of a car as well. Okay, so if you never thought about this, take a look at it and see if it might work for you, because instead of having your typical 7-day vacation, you have to go back home, here's a way where maybe you can stay in a really nice place in the city center for maybe a month or something, or a longer period of time, because you can save a lot of money on food by cooking all your meals and that sort of thing, and not paying rental car prices. Caretaker Gazette, this is a paid publication. It's about $30 a year. So caretakers can do everything from minor chores and taking care of pets and animals. And MSNBC did a little piece on this where they interview the people and ask them, what do you do? What kind of chores? Kind of the pro and con with all that. Each one of your issues that you get from them gives you about 150 different ways where you can stay for free, including things like lighthouses, estates, mansions, fishing lodges, private islands, pretty much anything you can imagine. All available here on Caretaker Gazette. AutoSlash, this is a rental car site. Pretty simple. You just type in this airport or city you want to pick up your car, and then the dates, and then they quote your price. Now the price is going to be subject to change. Okay. So after they quote your price, then you can probably start getting emails saying your price has been slashed, your price has been slashed. They have a full-time staff working on your deal. Here they are. Full-time. And they work for peanuts. My toast don't get any better than that, by the way. So the bottom line with this one is either they find you a lower price than you can find on your own with all the little computer codes and everything else, or you're free with no obligation to go somewhere else and book it. So almost up to your date of travel to kind of keep lowering your price and everything. So for the people who tried this that I've been in the classes, they said it's worked great and they liked it. So check it out next time you have to rent a car. Air ambulance card. This is medical evacuation insurance. This is what I carry. This is $225 a year for an individual, $325 a year for a family. And medical evacuation means that let's say you're in another country and something happens or you're hospitalized. Okay, you want to be flown back to, where are we? Longmont. Okay. Average price for something like that, you may want to guess.
$5,000.
$5,000. Do I hear six? 10,000. We have $100,000. So it's not cheap, right? Now the problem with a lot of the plans that are available out there, credit cards and things, is there's a lot of fine print, things like nearest appropriate facility limitation, pre-existing condition, medical necessity requirement. It doesn't mean they have to fly you back home, right? Unless you have this card, then they do. They just come get you and bring you back to the hospital here in Longmont. So if you're going to be traveling outside the United States, I'd recommend it. This also works in the United States. So if you're you're someplace in Michigan and you slip on the ice and you break a leg or something, you can use your ambulance service to bring you back here too.
Is that all it covers?
Medical evacuation, yes. Yes. Other kinds of insurance though. Squaremouth.com, again, if you have the book, it's in there. Squaremouth gives you kind of an a la carte listing of different companies, what they insure. So you may want to insure your whole trip or maybe part of your trip. And you can do that here very easily and kind of pick and choose what you choose to insure. Shaw Guides, this is the learning vacation website. They have about 6,000 different learning vacations around the world. If you want to go a riding camp, a riding course, or a golf camp, or you want to learn cooking in Tuscany, we'll have something like that here available. And you go with people's similar interests like mine, and kind of learn something while you're on a trip. All right, one of the reasons I try not to check my bags if I don't have to is because airlines tend to lose them. Okay, so here it says they're losing 3,000 bags every hour of every day. That sounds pretty bad, right? Good news is a lot of stuff we've lost over the years ends up in Scottsboro, Alabama, where you can buy it all back again at the Airplane Baggage Center. And so everything we've lost on airplanes, handbags, jewelry, laptops, computers, phones, cameras, all ends up here. And they used to sell this online, but now you have to actually go to Scottsboro, Alabama to buy it. And you can check it in again, they can lose it, you can just keep going around. Round out there or something. Okay, last, sleeping in airports. If you've ever had, how many have had to sleep in an airport other than me? Oh, a lot of you. Oh, so sorry. The story goes that when Walt Disney was looking for a small town to pattern his Main Street USA in Anaheim after, he sent some people out looking around. And so the story goes that they found one here in the small town of Fort Collins, Colorado, where they decided this is the town we're going to use to pattern Main Street USA. Again, that's probably true, but there's other stories out there, so choose to believe it or not, but this is my town. Anyway, just a couple minutes I think we have for maybe a question or two, and then we'll let Josie take over. So thank you for your attention, and thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope this is helpful. Are there any couple questions I can answer? Yes?
One thing you didn't mention was couch surfing.
Couch surfing, it's in the book. Couchsurfing.com, you register, and then you tell them a little bit about yourself. I'm a young student, I'm traveling around, and I don't have any money, I want to stay on the couch somewhere. And then the people in the town you want to go to see it, and if they decide they want to host you, then they'll contact you and do it. So it's popular, and it doesn't have to be just a couch, it could be a room or something, but thank you for mentioning that, it is in the book. There's another one called Global Freeloaders that's in there too. GlobalFreeloaders.com. Yes?
Everybody always talks about how there's like a magic time of day or night
To book.
to book. Is
Yeah.
that true, or is that really
Magic time of the day to book. Well, I skipped over one of those because, it was a fair compare. Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. our time, according to them. Now, having said that, in 20 years I've never had any luck doing it. I've never had anybody in the classes had any luck doing it. So whether it's true or not, if you go to another website, it'll probably be a different day or time. But if you want to rule, there it is. The cheapest day to fly is typically, so they say, Wednesday. Also tends to be less crowded on Wednesdays. Now that I've said that, you'll go and say, yeah, there's a convention in town. That guy told me. So anyway, does that help?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Also, is there a sweet spot in which to, like, the amount of time before you travel that you should be looking for a ticket?
Well, some people think, I'm going to wait till last minute, hopefully get a better deal. No. It's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to pay 3 times as much if you wait. I would say you want to be at least 21 days out. If you're going to be using frequent flyer miles, though, you want to try to use those as far in advance as you can. Because if I want to go to Hawaii next month using frequent flyer miles, it's probably going to be slim pickings. So that's one of the other things. If you have your miles, start checking, 6 months out. Like, okay, now I want to use them 6 months away. So then there's a little bit of help for you. Yes.
Have you used like Award Magic or the Extra Magic Peanuts website at all, where you can there's these sites where they help you get more out of your points that you have on
Award Magic?
Yeah, Award Magic, and I think one's called Extra Magic Peanuts.
Extra bag of peanuts. No, I haven't heard of those. So I can't intelligently answer. Sorry. Maybe one more? Yes?
Do you just cancel all those cards the following year then when you get the...
Yeah, so like I said, I only have 1 or 2 going at a time. Do I cancel them after a year? If I don't need them anymore, and I don't want them, then yeah, I turn them in. And it hasn't hurt my credit if that's what you're kind of wondering. I've had situations where if I did want the card, but I didn't want to pay the annual fee. Call them up. Hey, I really don't want to pay this annual fee. What are they going to say? They may say, okay. Or they may say, we'll waive it. And I've had them waited 4 years in a row. Sometimes I had to make 4 different phone calls before they would waive it. No, no, no. Sure, I can do that. Literally, yeah, literally. Yeah, so does that help? Thanks for question? Okay. Okay. You know what, I'll be around for a couple more minutes, but thank you all for coming, and happy to